Science.
Around the globe, in all latitudes, at all altitudes, glaciers are receding and disappearing at a rapid pace, at a speed that often exceeds even the most alarmist provisions made a few years ago. This tendency has been recently confirmed by a study of the French Alps carried out by researchers of the University of Savoie located near Chambéry. When we talk about melting glaciers and global warming, we often think of faraway polar regions. But here we're at the heart of Europe, close to Mont Blanc, and the surface area of glaciers is shrinking remarkably.
La superficie dei ghiacciai sta drammaticamente diminuendo.
According to the new research, glaciers in the French Alps have shrunk by a quarter in the past 40 years. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, the ice fields creeping down Mont Blanc, the surrounding mountains of the alpine range, covered some 375 square kilometers. By the late 2000s, this area had fallen to about 275 square kilometers. This mirrors findings of glacial retreat in other sectors of the Alps, which sit across the borders of several nations, but predominantly Switzerland, Austria, Slovenia, Germany, France and Italy. The new French Alps Glaciers inventory by the University of Savoie was produced by researcher Marie Gardon and colleagues.
We're standing in front of the Bosson Glacier that starts 1,500 meters up, but 40 years ago it was almost down to the valley floor. The general retreat of the glaciers is due to the global warming we all talk about. Summer temperatures are higher and there's less snow in winter. The consequences for the glaciers will directly impact on our water resources. The glaciers around the Alps are huge freshwater reservoirs. Another consequence is that sudden pockets of water and lakes can appear, which, when they rupture, can cause floods. A glacier retreating frees up unstable rock, debris and mud that can slide dangerously at any time.
Mélangés à des matériaux rocheux qui peuvent présenter un risque pour les populations situées à l'aval.
The University of Savoie has one of Europe's leading centres devoted to the study of the alpine environment, with around 60 researchers. The recent study assessed around 600 glaciers. Marie Gardon used map archives, satellite imagery and aerial photographs.
This is the glacier that provides the river Isère with its source. The violet line shows how big it was in 1850, then in 1970, and the blue line shows where it is today.
What was the method you used when interpreting the data?
To find out where the glacier was in 1850, we used the marks it had made in the landscape. For 1970, we had old maps, and for today's position, we've used aerial photography.
Can you give a percentage figure for the amount of glacier cover lost?
Thanks to our software, we estimate, on average, glaciers have lost 26% of their cover in the last 40 years, from 1970 to today, and 50% if we go back to 1850.
Marie Gardon adds that the general retreat of alpine glaciers since 1850 has considerably accelerated during the last 20 years. And this trend risks worsening in the future if the climatic conditions of the planet do not change.